Anna had a problem. She could feel everything, not her own feelings. Never her own, but everyone else's. When she walked past a baker in the morning, she felt his pride, warm and golden, like fresh bread. When she passed an old woman on the bridge, she felt her loneliness, cool and gray, like still water. When children ran by laughing, she felt their joy, bright yellow, everywhere at once. But when she stopped and looked inside herself, nothing, just a quiet, empty space. She lived in the city of Vel, a city made entirely of glass. Every building, every wall, every floor, all transparent. And because the city was glass, everyone could see each other's feelings. They floated inside the buildings like colored smoke. Gold for joy, blue-gray for sadness, deep red for anger, soft green for peace. It was a beautiful city, for most people. Anna's home glowed with no color at all. It was clear, empty, like a glass of plain water. People noticed. They always noticed. When she walked down the street, people glanced at her and looked away quickly. Not with cruelty, just with discomfort. Something about a colorless person made others uneasy, like looking at a mirror with no reflection. She was 17 years old. She had lived this way her whole life. She had learned to be quiet, to stay near walls, to smile when people expected a smile. But smiling without feeling anything is very tiring. That morning, she was sitting by the edge of the city, where the glass buildings ended and the gray zone began. The gray zone was where the colorless people lived, the ones who had lost all feeling. Slowly, over years, they moved like shadows, thin and fading. Anna looked at them. She did not want to become like that, but she did not know how to stop it. Then she heard a sound, a crash, around the corner. She stood up and looked. A man was sitting on the ground. He had knocked over a cart of old bottles, glass everywhere. He was trying to pick them up, but his hands were shaking. She looked at him more carefully. He had no color either. Not gray like the fading ones. Just empty. Clear. Like her. He looked up. He saw her staring. "What?" he said. His voice was flat. Not rude. Just empty. "Nothing," she said. "Do you need help?" He looked at the broken glass around him. "Probably," he said. She knelt down and started picking up the unbroken bottles carefully. He watched her for a moment. Then he helped too. They worked in silence. When it was done, he sat back and looked at her. "You're like me," he said. "Empty," she said. "Clear," he said. Like it was a better word. His name was Kay. He told her this without being asked. Like it was a fact. Not an introduction. "I used to be a collector," he said. "I sold feelings. Other people's feelings." Anna stared at him. "That's possible?" she asked. "In this city?" "Yes," he said. "People pay a lot for feelings they don't have. A sad person buys joy. A numb person buys anger. Just to feel something. And you sold them." "For years," he said. He looked at his hands. "Until I had nothing left myself." Anna thought about this. "I was born empty," she said. "I didn't sell anything." Kay looked at her with new interest. "Born empty," he said. "But you can feel others." "Yes," she said. "All the time. I can't stop it." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I've heard of that. Once. A long time ago." "What did you hear?" she asked. He picked up one of the bottles, turned it slowly. That somewhere in this world, he said, there is something called the first feeling. The original one. Before joy. Before sadness. Before all of it. Anna went very still. What is it? She asked. Nobody knows, he said. But they say if you find it, you understand everything. Including yourself. He put the bottle down. I don't know if it's real, he said. But Anna was already thinking. For the first time in her life, something moved inside her chest. Not someone else's feeling. Something small. Quiet. Her own. She didn't have a word for it yet. But it was there. The next day, Anna went to the market. It was in the center of Vel. A wide square surrounded by glass towers. Every morning, merchants set up stalls. Most sold normal things. Food, cloth, tools. But in the back corner, behind a curtain of dark glass, was the feeling market. Anna had never gone inside before. Today she did. She pushed through the curtain. Inside, the light was different. Softer. Warmer. The air felt thick. Small glass bottles covered every surface. Each one contained a swirling color. Dozens of shades she had never seen from the outside. Deep purples. Burning oranges. Soft whites. People moved quietly between the stalls. Their eyes were hungry. A woman in a green coat picked up a bottle of gold. She opened it. Breathed it in. For one moment, her whole body glowed warm yellow. Then it faded. She put the empty bottle down and walked away, already reaching for another. Anna watched. This was sad. She could feel it. Not her sadness. The woman's. Heavy and blue-gray. She moved deeper into the market. At the very back was a stall different from the others. No bottles. Just a single glass case. Inside the case was one small jar. The color inside was unlike anything Anna had seen. It was every color at once. Shifting. Moving. Like a living thing. A man stood behind the case. He was tall. His clothes were perfectly neat. His face was calm and smooth. And his light was extraordinary. He blazed with color. Every shade at once. Gold and red and blue and green. All swirling around him like a storm of feeling. It was beautiful. And deeply wrong. Anna looked closer. His eyes were empty. All that color. All that light. And behind his eyes, nothing. He noticed her looking. He smiled. It was a perfect smile. Interesting, he said. His voice was smooth. Careful. A clear one. I don't see many of you. What is that? Anna asked. She pointed to the jar. He looked at it fondly. My finest piece, he said. Took a lifetime to find. What feeling is it? He tilted his head. All of them, he said. Every feeling that has ever existed. Collected into one. Anna stared at the jar. You stole people's feelings, she said. It came out quieter than she meant. I collected them, he said. Still smiling. There is a difference. What difference? They gave them willingly, he said. People are very willing to give up what causes them pain. Anna thought about the woman with the gold bottle. The hunger in her eyes. And what do you feel? Anna asked. With all of that inside you? The collector looked at her for a long moment. Then his smile shifted. Just slightly. Everything, he said. And nothing. Anna turned and walked away. She found Kay waiting outside the curtain. He had followed her. Quietly. You saw him, Kay said. It was not a question. Yes, she said. The collector, Kay said. He's been building that collection for 40 years. He has no real feelings of his own, Aina said. No, Kay said. He gave them all away. Long ago. Before he started collecting others. Aina looked back at the dark glass curtain. He's like me, she said quietly. But opposite. Yes, Kay said. You feel everything from outside. He collects everything from outside. But neither of you has anything inside. Aina looked at Kay. The first feeling, she said. Is it real? Kay was quiet for a moment. The city hummed around them. Glass and color and light. I think so, he said at last. And I think the collector knows where it is. Aina straightened up. Something moved in her chest again. That small, quiet thing from yesterday. She still didn't have a word for it. But it was getting stronger. Then we find it before he does, she said. Kay looked at her. For just a moment, the faintest color flickered around him. Pale. Uncertain. But real. Neither of them mentioned it. But both of them noticed. They left Vel before sunrise. Aina carried a small bag. Inside was water, some bread, and a thin blanket. Kay carried nothing. He said he was used to traveling light. They walked east. The glass city faded behind them. Slowly. Until it was just a shimmer on the horizon. Ahead was the gray zone. They passed through it quickly. The colorless people stood still in doorways. Watching. Their eyes were dull. Their outlines soft. Like they were slowly becoming part of the air. Aina looked straight ahead. She did not want to stop. Beyond the gray zone was the blank plains. It hit her before she saw it. Nothing. Not silence exactly. Something worse. A complete absence of feeling. Like walking into a room where the air has been removed. She stopped at the edge. The plains stretched out endlessly. Flat and pale. The ground was white. Not snow. Just white. Like color had never existed there. No wind. No sound. No feeling. You feel it, Kay said. He was watching her. There's nothing to feel, she said. Exactly, he said. For most people, that's just quiet. For you. She looked at the white ground. It's like going deaf, she said. Kay nodded slowly. The collector has been seen entering the plains, he said. 3 times in the last year. Each time he came back with something new in his jars. He's looking for the first feeling too, Aina said. He's close, Kay said. That's why we have to move now. They stepped onto the plains. The feeling of nothing pressed against Aina from all sides. She had spent her whole life overwhelmed by other people's emotions. This was the opposite. Total emptiness from outside. Which meant only one thing. For the first time, she could hear herself. Faint. Quiet. Like a voice in a very large room. She kept walking. And she kept listening. After an hour, Kay spoke. Can I ask you something? He said. Yes, she said. What does it feel like? He said. Feeling everyone else. She thought about it. Like wearing clothes that belong to someone else, she said. They mostly fit. But nothing is quite right. Kay was quiet. I used to feel things, he said. Before I started selling. What did you feel? He walked a few steps before answering. Mostly small things, he said. The good kind of tired after hard work. The warmth of sitting near someone you trust. The specific happiness of finishing something difficult. Aina listened carefully. Those sound nice, she said. They were, he said. Simply. Without drama. They walked in silence for a while. Then Aina asked, "Do you regret it?" "Selling them." Kay thought for a long time. "I regret that I thought they had no value," he said. "I didn't understand what I had until it was gone." Aina looked at the white ground under her feet. "I've never had them," she said. "So I don't know what I'm missing. I just know something is missing." "That might be worse," Kay said quietly. "Or better," she said. "At least I'm still looking." Kay looked at her. That faint color flickered around him again. Briefly. She noticed it this time. "Kay," she said. "What?" "You just had a color," she said. "Just for a second." He stopped walking. He looked at his hands. Nothing there now. But his expression changed. Very slightly. "Huh," he said. They kept walking. Near the center of the plains, they found something. A structure. Low and wide. Made of white stone. Almost invisible against the pale ground. There was a door. It was open. Inside was a single room. On the walls were carvings. Old ones. Worn smooth by time. Aina moved her fingers over them carefully. Not touching. Just close. Even here, in the emptiness of the plains, she felt something from the stone. Ancient. Heavy. Patient. "These are old," she said. "Very," Kay agreed. He was reading the carvings carefully. His eyes moved slowly. "Can you read them?" Aina asked. "Some," he said. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "It's a warning." "About what?" He looked at her. "About the first feeling," he said. "It says, the first feeling was not joy. Not love. Not peace." Aina waited. "It was longing," he said. "The desire for connection. Before anything else existed, there was the feeling of reaching toward something." The room was very quiet. Aina stood very still. Because deep inside her chest, something moved. Strong this time. Unmistakable. She recognized it. Not from someone else. Her own. Reaching. Toward something unnamed. She had felt it her whole life. She just had never known it had a name. They found the collector on the second day. He was standing at the far edge of the blank plains, where the white ground ended and a deep forest began. The trees were silver. Their leaves made no sound. He was alone. His many colors swirled around him like a cloak. He turned when he heard them. He did not look surprised. "I wondered if you would follow," he said. His voice was smooth as always. Calm as always. Aina stepped forward. "You know what's in that forest," she said. "Yes," he said. "The first feeling," she said. "Yes," he said again. He looked at her with those empty eyes. "And so do you now. I can see it on your face." "Longing," she said. He tilted his head. "You found the stone structure," he said. "Smart. Why do you want it?" Kay asked. He stood slightly behind Aina, watching. The collector looked at Kay. "The same reason she does," he said. "To feel something real." "You have thousands of feelings in those jars," Kay said. "None of them are mine," the collector said. His voice didn't change. But something in it shifted. Just slightly. Aina looked at him carefully. All that color blazing around him. All that collected feeling. Stolen from others. And behind his eyes, a emptiness so deep it made her dizzy. She felt nothing from him. Not because he had no feeling nearby, but because his feelings were not real. They were borrowed. Collected. Like wearing 1,000 masks at once. "How long have you been empty?" she asked. The collector looked at her. For the first time, his perfect expression cracked. "Just a little." Longer than you have been alive, he said. Why did you give them up? She asked. Your real feelings. He was quiet for a moment. I was afraid of them, he said at last. They made me weak. They made me make mistakes. They made me lose things. He paused. I decided it was better to observe feeling than to have it. And was it? Aina asked. He looked out at the silver forest. No, he said, very quietly. Aina took a slow breath. She thought about the woman at the market, buying joy in a bottle, breathing it in, watching it fade. She thought about Kay, selling his small warm feelings one by one until nothing was left. She thought about herself, spending 17 years full of everyone else and empty of herself. All three of them. Different paths. Same empty place. Then come with us, she said. Kay looked at her sharply. The collector looked at her too. Surprised. Genuinely surprised. What? He said. Come with us, she said again. Into the forest. Find the first feeling. Together. I could just take it from you, he said. His old voice. Careful and cold. You could try, Aina said. She didn't step back. But I don't think that's what you actually want. Silence. The silver trees stood still. The collector looked at her for a long time. Then he looked at the jars hanging from his belt. All those swirling colors. All those collected pieces of other lives. He unclipped one. Looked at it. Then he set it gently on the ground. He unclipped another. Set it down. One by one, he placed them all on the white ground. When he was done, the colors blazing around him were gone. He was clear. Like Aina. Like Kay. Just a tall man standing in a pale landscape. Quiet. Uncertain. Old. I don't know how to do this, he said. His voice was different now. Smaller. Neither do I, Aina said. That's the point. The silver forest was unlike anything Aina had ever seen. The trees grew close together. Their bark was pale gray. Their leaves were thin and reflective. When the three of them moved through the trees, they could see themselves reflected everywhere. 100 versions of themselves, walking in all directions. It was disorienting. It was also, somehow, right? They walked without speaking much. Aina noticed things changing the deeper they went. The emptiness of the blank plains faded behind her. But nothing replaced it. Not other people's feelings. Something else. Something she had no name for. It was like the forest was breathing. Slowly. Patiently. After a long time, Kay stopped. Do you feel that? He said. Aina nodded. Even the collector was still. His head slightly tilted. Listening. This way, Aina said. She didn't know how she knew. She just did. They followed her. The trees thinned, then opened, into a small clearing. In the center was a pool. Perfectly still. Perfectly clear. The water had no color. But when Aina looked into it, she saw something. Not a reflection. A feeling. It moved just below the surface. Slow and deep. Like something very old and very patient waiting to be recognized. She knelt at the edge of the pool. She looked into it for a long time. Behind her, Kay and the collector stood quietly. She reached out her hand. Held it just above the surface. She felt it clearly now. Longing. But not empty longing. Not painful longing. Longing that was also warmth. The feeling of reaching toward something and knowing, deeply knowing, that it is reaching back. Connection. Before words. Before memory. Before anything. Just the simple, ancient feeling of not being alone. Tears came to her eyes. She was surprised. She had never cried before. She had felt others cry through her. But this was different. This was hers. She pressed her hand to the surface. The water rippled. And then light moved outward from the pool. Not bright. Soft. Like the first light of morning. It reached Aina first. And something opened in her chest. Wide and warm. Her own feeling. Real and full and hers. She gasped. It was not dramatic. It was not powerful. It was small. Quiet. But it was completely, entirely hers. She turned around. Kay was standing very still. His eyes were wide. Color was spreading around him. Slowly. Warm amber. Like old wood in afternoon light. He put his hand over his heart. "Oh," he said softly. Just that one word. But his voice was full. The collector stood behind them both. The light reached him last. He did not move. His face was still. Controlled. The habit of 40 years. But his eyes changed. Something filled them. Slowly. Like water rising. His hands came up. He looked at them. His fingers were shaking slightly. "I had forgotten," he said. Very quietly. "I had completely forgotten." His color came back. But different from before. Not blazing. Not borrowed. Just one steady, gentle shade. Warm blue. Like deep water with light behind it. He sat down on the ground. Slowly. Like his legs had given way. He did not look embarrassed. He looked like a person who had put down something very heavy after carrying it for a very long time. Aina watched him. She felt her own feeling in her chest. Steady and new. And she also felt something from him for the first time. Not borrowed. Not collected. Real. Relief. Deep and vast as a sea. She sat down beside him. He looked at her. "What do we do now?" he asked. It was the same question Kay had asked. In a different story. In a different life. But Aina's answer was different this time. "We go back," she said. "To the city. To the gray zone. To everyone who sold themselves empty." She looked at the still pool. "This feeling doesn't disappear when we leave," she said. "We carry it with us. And we share it." "How?" the collector asked. "Not in jars," she said. She almost smiled. "By just being near them. By letting them see it's possible." The collector looked at the ground where his jars had been left behind on the plains. "I have a lot to answer for," he said. "Yes," Aina said. Honestly. But that's what feelings are for. To face things. Not to hide from them. He nodded. Once. Slowly. Kay came and sat on Aina's other side. The three of them sat by the still pool for a while. No one spoke. The silver trees reflected them back. One image now. 3 people sitting together, quietly full. Then Aina felt something unexpected. From Kay. From the collector. From the trees and the pool and the pale quiet air. And from inside herself. All at once. All together. Warm and steady and enormous. She finally had a word for it. The small thing that had started in her chest the moment Kay mentioned the first feeling. The thing that had grown on the long walk across empty plains. The thing that had brought 3 lost people to a quiet pool in a silver forest. Hope. Not borrowed. Not collected. Just hers. Just real. She stood up. Brushed off her knees. "Ready," she said. Kay stood. His amber light warm and steady. The collector stood. Slower. But he stood. Yes, they said. Together. And they walked back through the silver trees. Toward the gray city. Toward the people fading at the edges. Toward a world that had forgotten what it felt like to feel. Carrying something small and strong and true. The oldest thing in the world. And somehow entirely new.